Mikey, what's going on, brother?
Bonjour. How are we?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, bro. What's going on?
Yeah, good boy. You okay? What's news? We got a little bit in common, mate. We have. I'm excited for this one today.
Yeah, go on.
Have you spoken to your boy Leon?
Yeah, I seen he was chatting with you the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm from Plymouth originally, and I played for Ivybridge Rugby Club growing up. But I'm a bit older than you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So we were having a good chat, and he was like,
I seen you got some new golf clubs. He talked you into some new golf clubs, did he?
Oh, mate. So I am an average golfer, like I can get around a course, but I've probably got 2 sets of clubs in the garage, none of which I've ever bought, and they're all from about 15 different sets. People have just given me a club over the years,
Yeah.
So I said to him, right, I've got a load of golf days coming up. I'm getting back into it. Start playing again back in before the last lockdown over here.
Yeah.
And I said, which club should I get? And I had these vouchers, and he said, get a driver, get a putter. And then I went out to the bag. The bag was moldy because it had been in the garage all winter. So I was like, went to American Golf, and I was like, look, I work in sales. I've worked in sales for years. I don't need to be sold to. I just want the best solution for this particular problem.
Clubs.
Yeah. So I put on the bit. I've got I work full time. Then I've got my own business as well. So I was like, I'm going to put that on the business, corporate days out, that sort of thing. So,
Man, I love fucking the equipment's the best bit about it. Just like fucking buying new kit.
oh man, I'm sure you would have done it back when you were lifting, when you play rugby and it's stash day and you get that bag of kit and you put it all on. You're like, oh yes, look at me, bro. It's
Man,
exactly the same.
I just recently got a new set out here because my other ones were just like fucking ancient. It's mad. Like 10 years passed, and I went to the golf fitting place in my clubs, and the guy was like, mate, these are fucking well old. And I was like, what are you on about? When I got these were the daddy. He's like, yeah, time to change, bro. I was like, fuck's sake.
Mate,
Where do I start?
I walked in and I was like, oh, I like this putter. I do quite well with it. I really like it. And he was like, it's bent. I went, you what? And he fucking held it out straight. It's fucking bent. And I was like, oh yeah, didn't realize that. So yeah, just fucking. My missus is in Ireland. She's from Ireland, so she's back there for a week. So she's gonna come home and see what the club's down. But like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you just gotta leave them in that shit, bro.
Yeah, in the kitchen, I've got a putting mat out at the moment, and every night I'm just having 50 putts, just practicing with it. Like I'm gonna have to tidy up before she comes home.
Yeah, nice.
It's all good though. Hey, cheers for coming on, mate. I'm so for people who aren't, I mean, look, there's nothing in here for me to throw you under the bus, but having listened to, I think I'm 9 or 10 episodes into Fair Points, you guys are pretty fucking open. So it's you, James Smith, and Ferris Lamrabat. Is that how you say it?
Yeah. Lamrabat.
Right. Oh, Lamrabat. Fuck's sake. Yeah, you guys are so open. So for people listening, welcome to another episode of Catflap Chats. I'm delighted to have Sonny Webster here today, who, to be fair, mate, you seem so fucking busy. I was just trying to list everything out that you're doing at the moment. And I know you've spoken about your journey on other podcasts and stuff, so we won't delve into that. Well, it's up to you where we go with this today, right? But I'm going to try and do you some justice here. Forgive me if I don't. Brilliant. And you fucking correct me if I'm wrong, all right?
Go for it.
Right. World, Commonwealth and European junior and senior athlete in powerlifting.
Olympic weightlifting, not powerlifting.
Yeah, sorry, Olympic weightlifting. I wrote that down. Olympic weightlifting, not powerlifting. 2016 Olympics. Obviously, what happened, and we can touch on that in a bit. But then the Sonny Webster Academy, the Fair Points podcast, and I was looking through your link tree earlier. Mobility manual, snatch manual, squat manual, clean and jerk. You've got a YouTube channel. You've got various other elite level lifting manuals and programs. You do seminars all over the world, which when you're over here next, I'd love to come and see one. You've got your Lifting Dreams charity, which I didn't know about actually, and it was only when I was having a little look through. That looks unbelievable. So we'll go into that in a bit. You've got Big Friday supplies. You're the biggest quads I think I've ever seen in a man. he still has a bit of a decent rig as well. You know, it's not a sloppy rig like some lifters. You know, you're keeping it lean there. You love a bit of budgies as well by the look of things. So you're a bit of me,
Yes.
pal.
Yes, man. Yeah, you nailed it, man. But extremely busy. But I think, like I said, I mean, I had that huge period in my life where weightlifting was my whole life, my purpose, if you like. And I'm extremely passionate about Olympic weightlifting. And I think for me now, and the reason why I do have so many different businesses that I'm involved in or projects that I work on is because I just want to use that same sort of drive and focus and passion that I have for my Olympic weightlifting and put it into other areas that I guess excite me, but also challenge me. That's one of the biggest things, after you do one thing for so long, there becomes an element of, I guess, security and comfort in your comfort zone. But daily I'm working within businesses, and Big Friday Suppliers is one as an example, in areas that is completely new to me. And it's extremely humbling. I'm failing daily, I'm learning daily, and that excites me because with every time that you have those things where you have to actually use your brain and you struggle and you figure shit out, it's all part of your bigger growth. And I love it. That's why I'm involved with so many different things.
It's class, and also like to keep the mind busy as well. Like I'm one of those people you often see. I say retired athletes, but I suppose your circumstances are a bit different. But like some of the rugby players or footballers I know, they've said that they struggle after they kind of finish what was their life for 15, 20 years, and then what's the purpose now? What's the goal now? And lots of them struggle. So it's class to see that you're so involved in so many things, because I don't think enough people plan for that part or go on that journey because it's the unknown.
Yeah, I think like what you said there, I think if they're keeping the mind busy is a huge part of it. But I think if there's one thing that, I could have in this world, it would be that there was no need for sleep, because that is one thing that I don't struggle with. I mean, for me, I'm constantly thinking, brainstorming, and I do find it very hard sometimes to switch the brain off. But you're right. A lot of athletes do get to that point after they've been defined by a sport or a certain figure and position in sport. It really molds your identity. And I think it's something that, as advised to a lot of professional athletes, I think the awareness that is a potential, and really think back to around, what are your core values? Because regardless of whether your identity is constructed by something that you've been involved in for an extremely long time, your, I guess, purpose and your core values will still be the same things that you can carry through into other projects and other focuses as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I work in I got a few different things, but I work in like media and advertising at the moment. And one of the big things is like integrity, but actually that goes through all walks of life. No matter what I'm doing, actually try and have integrity. So if it's the right thing to do, we'll do it. If it's not the right thing to do, just say to the client, say to the person, just be really honest and have that communication and that dialogue. And actually you'll get through it. Even if it's not the journey you intended, you'll end up getting through it somehow. I feel like it's not a straight road, but if you've got the right people around you, the right tools and the right passion for it, or whatever it might be, you'll get there in the end.
For sure.
Well, we're having a go anyway. For people, and I don't need to delve into this too much today, because I know that you said, you've spoken about it. Can you just give people a real whistle stop on the journey, just so they can understand, if they haven't seen your story before, just so they can understand what you've kind of been through to get to where you are now? Because it amazes me how positive you are when I listen to Fair Points or see you on social media, bearing in mind what you've kind of been through and what that's put you against,
Yeah, well, I think this kind of goes back to what we were just saying there, in terms of like not letting things that have happened to you define you and who you are. And I guess for the listeners now, the story that I'm going to give you is going to be an extremely brushed over version of an absolute roller coaster of events that I've kind of been through, but I'll give it a go. So I grew up in the UK, down in Devon, and I started weightlifting at the age of 11 years old. And prior to that, I'd always been into golf as a kid. That was my sport. Wanted to be like Tiger Woods when I grew up, as as a lot of kids did. And I found very quickly that I was actually have a lot more talented at Olympic weightlifting than I was at golf. And I'm sure a huge part of that come down to the fact that only about 3 people in the UK did fucking weightlifting. So
yeah. How did you get into like how did you get into that? Because again, like when I was growing up, I grew up in Plymouth, so just down the road from you. There were no kids that did weightlifting. Like I don't think I was told to step in, and I played rugby back there to a half decent level. No one told me to get in the gym at all until I went to uni, and then I got beat up by all the Welsh kids. Like
you'll remember Ivybridge Community College then.
Yes, that's where all my mates went.
Yeah, so at that school was Michaela Breeze, who was an Olympian weightlifter, and she was one of the PE teachers there. So she had a weightlifting club at the gym, but at the school, but it was only one of about three schools in the whole of the country that actually offered weightlifting as part of the sports curriculum. So it was completely by chance that I managed to fall into Olympic weightlifting. I guess just through school. And I continued to train with my Olympic weightlifting. I can count on one hand how many lunchtimes I spent in the playground because I was so infatuated by the sport. And I think from a young age, weightlifting gave me a lot of confidence. You know, like I said, very early on, I was lifting to a high level. I was British under 13 champion, under 11 champion. And I think that gave me a lot, like I said, confidence at a young age. Which I kind of needed because I wasn't the most confident kid when I first started, for sure. And very early on, I had the opportunity to travel to compete for Great Britain. I remember my first international competition was in 2007 in Italy, and I came 22nd out of 23 in the European Championships, and realized that I wasn't actually that fucking good. But at the same time, it was one of the best things I always say that happened to me at that age, because it made me realize if I really wanted to be good at this sport, I had to train a lot harder than just trying to beat everyone that was in my training circle. So I dedicated, I guess, the rest of my time at school in Ivybridge, and then moved to Bristol actually with Leon to start Golf Academy, but continued to pursue my weightlifting career up there, and trained at one of the best weightlifting gyms in the UK under Andy Suter, the Empire Sports Club, which is a pretty famous gym in Bristol for its Olympic weightlifting. And I spent my time there every day. I would get up, I'd go to uni, go to college. Me and Leon would mess around in college. Then after college, we'd go hit golf balls with the Golf Academy. And then I'd leave the driving range at 5. And then I'd go into the city on the bus and then do weightlifting till about 8, 9 o'clock. And that was kind of my life for the 3 years that I was at Filton in Bristol. And it got to the end of college, and it was now, we're talking 2011, 1 year out from the London Olympics, which was always a childhood dream of mine. And my college professors were like, you need to go to university. But I was like, fuck uni, I just want to lift weights. And fortunately, I did decide to end up going to Bath University. Got in there with a BTEC, which I was very fucking grateful of. And I continued to do my weightlifting and my university studies then, but it meant that then my schedule looked like I would wake up, eat, train, go home, sleep, train again, and then I'd go home, eat, and then at 10 o'clock at night, I'd leave to drive to the university in Bath from Bristol, which would be 30, 40 minutes. Then I'd study till 2, 3 in the morning, and then drive back home, get 4 or 5 hours sleep, and do the same thing again. So for that period in my life, I was trying to juggle study whilst trying to go to the Olympic Games. And I ended up missing out on London by just a couple of kilos. But again, that at the time, it felt like the worst thing in the world had just happened, but I learned a lot from that experience. And I think it really made me realize that if I wanted to go to the Olympic Games, I just needed to work that bit harder than what I was doing. So again, it was that, right, I need to take that next step up. And that's when I kind of really decided that I couldn't continue to juggle golf and weightlifting at the same time.
Yeah.
So I ended up stopping my golf and dedicating purely on weightlifting, and then was fortunate enough to qualify then for the Rio 2016 Olympics, which was childhood dream of mine. Did the Olympic Games, will still always be the greatest day of my life. I think there's the feeling that I had that moment when I walked out onto the stage. It was like my whole life had flashed in front of me. Every hard training session, good training session, failure, and I was there exactly where I wanted to be. But I think on reflection now, when I reflect on that moment, and I think this will resonate with a lot of people that are listening, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, that we travel through life towards these goals or these things that we really think we want to achieve and have. And then once you get them, you kind of are almost a bit taken back by the fact that it's not feeling like you'd always imagined it to feel. And as great as that moment was, I think on reflection, it was an extremely, I guess, selfish pursuit for, to be able to call myself an Olympian. And I don't regret it, but I realized that on reflection, there's so much more to life and my purpose than just going to the Olympic Games and being an Olympian. And I think after that, the Olympic blues subsided, I kind of realized that my purpose was actually there to have more of an impact in helping people. And I guess not only displaying that weightlifting is an incredible sport and the opportunity that it gave me was great, but that it can really be of benefit to a lot of other people as well. And for a sport that isn't overly well publicized, it's not extremely popular, it got me starting to think about how can I change the way that weightlifting is perceived and make it fun, make it sexy, make it, something that any Tom, Dick, and Harry could walk into a gym and do. And fortunately, with CrossFit being as popular as it was and it growing like it did, it gave me the opportunity to kind of piggyback that and get involved in the CrossFit community, I guess, as an authority to help people learn to do Olympic weightlifting, which at the time a lot of other weightlifters didn't do, because they were like, who the fuck are these new people doing our sport badly? And I was kind of on the other side of the fence where I was like, hang on a minute, come on, I'll help you. It's cool. I don't expect you to be good. You just started 2 minutes ago. I'm 18 years in and I've only just got the grasp of it. So I guess that kind of was when my popularity on social media grew. And that's when it gave me the opportunity, I guess, to be able to travel the world and deliver my seminars. And I think from a competitive point of view, my own goal then after the Olympic Games was to compete at the Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast and then hang my boots up. Because I remember my coach saying to me very early on in the sport, she said, if you can go to the Olympic Games and win a Commonwealth gold medal, that's about as good as you can do as a British weightlifter. So I was like, cool, that's what I'm going to do then. Go for the gold in Gold Coast and that'll be me. And then obviously one morning woke up and found out I had the positive drug test, and that just completely flipped my whole journey plan on its head. Obviously, as you will have heard if you've listened to the other podcast, it was something that happened completely unknowingly. Had I in my life of Olympic weightlifting ever wanted to cheat or take performance enhancing drug and I got caught, would have held my hands up and gone, tried to cheat. Got on the chin. But I went through a terrible time with that, because it was very much as though my whole identity had been taken away from me. And I guess the fact that not only that, because I kind of got over that, but it was the fact that people thought that everything that I had achieved up until that point wasn't through my own hard work and determination for training. So I think, unlike most people, when they go through the scenario of a drug ban, generally they have done it, and then they go and hide in a fucking hole, and then they pop out 2 years later after their band's finished. For me, because this wasn't something that happened due to my own knowledge, I made a big thing of telling people about the scenario, what I went through, how it happened, etc. And not only that, but fighting my corner in the fact that, I was offered half the ban that I ended up getting if I admitted to doing something I didn't do intentionally. And that's always been one of the biggest things for me, is my morals are more important than anything else, and I had to stand by that. And I ended up getting punished further for that. And then not only that, because I continued to do and have the impact that I do on the sport, got a further 3 years. So I think my initial 4-year ban finishes in just under a month's time, and then I'll serve another 3 years for coaching while I'm on my ban. And considering the impact I now have on the sport is probably even bigger than the sport itself, I kind of look back at that moment, and as hard as it was to deal with at that point, it sounds crazy to say, but it was almost like a blessing in disguise in what it's allowed me to go on to do, and the people that I can now help through, the platform that I have and have created. So yeah, from then I continued to deliver my seminars, not through ease, still with a lot of kickback from government organizations and particular athletes that were kind of disgruntled by the fact that I was still doing well after I'd been banned, and it rubbed people the wrong way. So there was a lot of, I guess, things that were made difficult for me. One of them being my Australia tour when I first came over here. But that led me to Australia, led me to meeting my beautiful girlfriend that I ended up moving over here to be with. And now I've got my life here in Australia, and it's kind of crazy how things go like that, I guess.
That's
that's kind of bullet point stop the journey, I guess.
And you like, if people want to know more about your journey, go and listen to the Fair Points podcast and the one you did with James Smith just before that, because you do go into it in hours of detail, and it was fascinating. And the thing that there's a few things I took from it, right? Mental, how positive you are. Like you just said, it almost like a blessing in disguise, because I don't know if it's just social media, but listening to the podcast, I don't think it is. You seem so happy now. And actually, that blessing in disguise, it feels from the outside looking in, is giving you some sort of freedom to be allowed to go and be the person you want to be and do what you want to do. And so many of us are stuck in, I've got a daughter, right? I love her to bits. I wouldn't change it for the world. The circumstances, I probably could have been a bit sharper about, because it was a kind of 1 week thing, But I'd love to live. My sister lives in Melbourne. I would have fucking loved to have lived abroad, and I can't, because I've got an 8-year-old, and I can't just leave her because I just can't do it. So I see people. So now I'm like, right, what's the best I can do here? And it's I've got a full-time job, but other things I'm doing on the side. So many people are stuck in this 9 to 5 rat race to buy houses, to get married, to be in relationships that don't particularly like, to do all these things that we're conditioned to do: school, college, uni, debts, blah blah blah. And I love seeing people do well in what they fucking love. And it seems like from the outside that roller coaster you've been through is opened up the door to go, fuck it, I'm here for a good time. I'm going to go and help everyone else. I'm going to go and do what I want to do.
Yeah, well, I think, like, leading on from what you said there, like, for me, I've experienced what I would only know as the worst possible feeling I could have felt, in terms of my identity's gone. I had nothing. And if you've experienced that and you've managed to come away from that and go, okay, I'm okay, I'm actually fine, nothing else scares me now. Like, there's, when I think of things, right, and you weigh up any sort of decision that you make, and if the worst thing that could possibly happen as a fault of that decision you can deal with, then what have you got to lose? And I think that makes, for me, when I'm making decisions and chasing dreams and taking risks 10 times easier, because I think, well, I've been in the position where I've had nothing before, so I'm not scared if that happens again, because I know there's a way back. But I think you're right with what you say, that there is this blueprint in life that we're designed to follow and do. But I truly believe with enough passion, you can make a living and make a life out of fucking apples if you want it to be fucking apples.
Yeah,
You know, it kind of is irrelevant. The people nowadays buy into you and your personality and your values and your purpose and your message, not what the fucking product is. And yeah, I think that all of a combination of those things have made it a lot easier for me to get to where I am now. And, you know, I think having been through what I have been through, I am extremely proud of, you know, where I am today and what I'm doing and the people I've got around me, and, you know, the opportunities that I get to do some fucking cool shit with fucking cool people.
and so many people will be jealous of that. And I don't know. There's a few things I want to kind of pick up on that. You said buying into you, and the people buy from people. It doesn't matter what the product is. If you're a dickhead, they'll go and buy the product elsewhere if it's the product they want, because you're an asshole or whatever, right? But with people buying into you and your reputation having been tarnished through no fault of your own, and for people listening, you put your entire life into trying to clear your name and your savings, and you literally lost it all, right? In that respect, how do you pull yourself back from that? Because people, I feel we're in a generation at the moment where people are struggling more than ever mentally, but they also don't do the right things at times. And I've been there. I've had some really dark days, to the point where one or two people brought me back from a dangerous path, you know?
Yeah.
But at the time, I wasn't sleeping well. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing, drinking, drugs, and all the other things, that vices that find our way. People don't help themselves. And so as a young man, because what was that, 2017, sort of 4 years ago, or your mid-20s, early 20s, like, that's not a lot of life experience. How do you pull yourself through that, like, mentally, and what stops you from going down that dark path? Because I feel like we're in a generation where we're a bit softer than ever, and we, you know, some of that tough love people get offended by.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, you kind of hit the nail on the head there when you said that, you know, when you look back at the things that potentially cause you to feel that certain way, you neglect the most important things in life: sleeping well, resting well, eating well, all of the basic fundamentals that you need to be as a healthy human. And we're very quick to look for extreme reasons as to why you're feeling the way you feel. And, you know, I think it's something that's become a lot more common for men to talk about, for women to talk about their emotions and how they're feeling, for you to actually have a better understanding of yourself. And I think that sometimes is one of the biggest things that brings on depression or low times, is not fully understanding who you are and where your comfortable place is, and the things that actually fuel you and make you feel good. And until you really understand who you are and you can be comfortable in your own skin, that will always be a constant battle that you'll have. And it's not to say once you get to that point where you are comfortable with who you are, and, you know, you have a real understanding of the things that give you security and make you feel good, that you're not going to be depressed again, or you're not going to have those dark days, but you'll have the tools to get back from them. And I think that's really important. And I think we're so fortunate, as bad as social media can be, it also opens you up to a lot of help and a lot of people that are out there, that even if you don't feel they are in reach, they fucking are now because of social media. And we're very fortunate in the fact that we...
Can you hear me, pal?
Yeah. Yeah. Go on. Back.
Fucking hell, dude! I've got, mate. I don't know what the fuck's going on. My internet's
Right.
only fucking top one. You said then, as you got into your flow, basically, it started freezing. So, do you mind, like, sorry to be a pain in the ass?
Yeah. So I was just saying that we're very fortunate now that we've got the ability to reach so many people through social media. There is a lot more help and support out there. And I think when you surround yourself and you find out that more people have felt the same way as you, or there's other people that have been through the same thing as you, it gives you a hell of a lot more, I guess, confidence in being able to fight the way you're feeling and to start feeling better again. But it does really come down to only thinking about the things that are in your control. And that is the very basic elements of survival. And that's why one of the things through COVID, like you said, where a lot of people were depressed, they missed human interaction, they felt they didn't have security in their job, in their lives, etc. I think for some people, that was like a real kickstart to strive for a new challenge. And for a lot of people, that was like a spiraling downhill. And I spoke to numerous people on my lives right at the start of COVID, and it was so much about doing the basic things, going for a walk, getting fresh air, make sure you're eating well, sleeping well, that are like I said, the really things that become important when you're thinking about being in a good mental state. And I do feel like now, for me personally, I do know the things that I need to do when I don't feel 100%. And whilst you may not see that on social media, that is for a reason, because for me, if I'm not feeling 100%, I'm feeling a little bit down and depressed, it's not something that I need to project onto the people that follow me. I use social media as an opportunity to give positivity and to lighten up people's day and to make people feel good. If there's a lesson to be learned from what I've been through or the way I've been feeling, you'll see it in my emails, or I'll be discussing those things in my emails. But for me directly, I go to the people that know me better than anyone. I tell my best friend Jeff, or I speak to my girlfriend Lyndall, or the people that spend the most time around you are the ones that can actually help you the most. So I think it's why you don't necessarily see it on social media, and I don't want people to think that it doesn't happen to me, because it does. But I look to the people that are closest to me to help me, rather than project it onto social media.
And on social media, then, like, it's a funny old thing, isn't it? You get it can do so much good, right? You're helping so many people. I love your videos. Like, I saw before the last lockdown, for the last sort of 6 months, I was getting into CrossFit, but we weren't allowed to call it CrossFit, so it was called strength and conditioning, to get around that little thing of having to pay for a box, I suppose. But essentially, Olympic lifting, 6-week, 10-week programs, and then sort of a deload week, and then onto a different set of programs, And I actually started loving it, and I do it 4 mornings a week. And what I struggle massively with, I'll probably chat to you a different time, but my mobility from playing rugby and neglecting my body I'm 35 now, for a good, 20 years, if not longer, I've just neglected my body, stretching, eating the right stuff, going on the piss all the time. So when I come to these classes now, I'm fairly strong, I suppose, for like in that class, but my technique is fucking awful. I can't get the bar. So when I do like a front squat, I have to hold it really wide so I can get my elbows through, where I see your videos and you've got it in your clean grip and it's up and it's just like oh, it's just fucking clicked then. Like, I can't lift my fucking shoulder. Like, do you know what I mean? And it
But
just
the
holds
thing
me.
is, right, bro, there's you, like every other fucking person, majority of other people that do CrossFit, you've got in there, is fucking rolling around on a foam roller and stretching and doing fucking technique with a 5 kilo bar sexy?
No,
it's
definitely not.
Slamming fucking plates on the bar and fucking that's sexy. That's what people fucking like doing. So my biggest struggle is convincing people that, okay, strength will never be your weakness. Strength isn't the thing that's holding you back. It's the fact that you move like fucking starfish, and and that you've got horrendous technique.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, for me, I've done 120 seminars to 40 people each time in every fucking continent of the world, and the same fucking problems are there every single time. People can't move up, they've got shit technique, which is the whole reason why I created the mobility manual and my academy, is to service those two areas, because people don't necessarily need help getting fucking strong. Like, strength program is strength. It's fucking, you know, periodization in those core movements, and you will improve consistency. But when it comes to technique and mobility, especially with the element of weight, there's a certain protocol that, you know, I put in through my mobility manual to get people moving specific to the movement that they want to be mobile in. You doing a fucking hamstring stretch every morning isn't necessarily going to carry over to you being able to sit into the bottom of a squat of 100 kilos over your head. So the process in which you need to mobilize and improve movement for Olympic weightlifting is very different to going to fucking yoga. So that's where the mobility manual was born, in a sense, because it's really created with that in mind, that is sport specific mobility.
That's what I think. That's what I need, because again, like, I'm in the gym, and if you ever come to Cardiff, right, you'll have to come.
You know, it's what you need, bro. You know, it's what you need. But this is the thing. Will you fucking do it? Probably not. You'll probably buy the program and still not fucking do it. I deal with people like this,
mate,
all the
completely.
time. And, you know, it's why so much in life now, that level of accountability is so important. And that's what you pay for more than anything. You know, with anything, when you make a financial investment, you'll fucking go. You've just spent 500 quid on golf clubs. You'll go to the range now for a while.
Because
you want to make the most out of them. And it's that need to have that financial commitment in order to have accountability, you know, with whatever you do, so you actually compete it.
Mate, I will get the mobility manual, right? I'll complete it. I've put it out there now. It's going to be in the public domain, right? Exactly. All 3 listeners of mine, they're going to hear it, right?
Good.
It's frustrating because, and I'll come on to what my original point was going to be in a bit, but like on social media, you see these people chucking up. Like I did that. I think my best was, I'm a big bloke. I'm like 120 kilos, man. I'm a lump, like. But I should be, like, mass moves mass. So I feel like I should be chucking more weight around, but because my technique holds me back, obviously I'm not. But like, say I do like 100 kilo power clean, it frustrates me. Then I can't do a 60 kilo squat clean without pain in my hips or get my elbows through. And I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter how strong I am, because I'm not competing and I'm not trying to impress anyone else. I've got a missus, so it doesn't fucking matter.
But this is the problem, yeah. And this is where so many people fall down. It's because if you come to my weightlifting class and we're doing full cleans and you get to the point where you're like, fuck, I can't go down anymore. Instead of your coach going, cool, well, you're staying at 30 kilos today, you'll just go, oh no, fuck it, I'll just power clean. So then you end up getting really strong at an ulterior movement. And then why the fuck would you want to resort back to doing a full clean? And I explain this to people like driving a car. If you learn to drive in an automatic first, which is the power clean, you can only then drive an automatic because you've got to do another test drive manual. So you'll just always drive an automatic. Whereas if you learn to drive stick, first of all, you have the fucking beauty of doing both, which is why, again, the process in which I teach the sport, power isn't a thing. You don't get to learn what a fucking power is till you're a year deep in Olympic weightlifting, because it's purely an accessory movement to the full movement. And I say this to rugby players as well. And for so long, like, rugby strength and conditioning coaches, first of all, didn't teach Olympic weightlifting because they didn't have the knowledge to teach it. And 2, because they felt as though the technical learning curve for the rugby players was too much. But weightlifting isn't hard to grasp if it's taught in the right way and in the right process. You think how many athletes would perform better if they had a better range of motion? You know, if you could get lower in a ruck, for example, if you could get further twisted round in your golf swing, You know what I mean? If you can sit deeper in a squat, you don't have to pull the bar so high. All of these things that purely by improved range of motion will increase performance, but it's not as sexy as going to smash out a load of heavy squats. So
no, it's mad, isn't it? It's like what, like I feel like people in gyms nowadays, like what's going to get me the more likes on social media? Like, I can squat.
Bar as wide.
Get their bumpers on there, like on social media, obviously through your down days, but then also probably now, like because you guys are so honest on the podcast, and I know you toe the line quite a bit sometimes. Was it Switzerland? Like you, because you got to miss it, you look at it from a different point of view, and the other two are single and doing what they're doing. Like, do you get much heat back on social media in terms of people going, you boys are dickheads, or like, do you still get people now going, what the fuck do you know? You went through all this, you're a cheat or whatever. Like, do you get any of that?
Of course, every fucking day, bro. But the thing is, no one that's above you will ever pull you down. So for me, that's
great point.
That's like the one thing that I always tell myself when I see, and don't get me wrong, sometimes you do see red a little bit, but I just take a deep breath and I think to myself, who's in a better scenario right now? And it just reminded myself that they would not be pulling me down if they were above me, proud of me, equal to me, happy to see what I'm doing. So I find it very easy to give no wind to the sail and just leave it and continue with a smile on my face, because that is the sweetest revenge. When people keyboard warrior, they want you to tap back because they just want your attention. But I don't even give my attention to like things that aren't going to fuel me or for a positive cause. And the older and older I've got, as more and more I've realized time is my most valuable asset. And that's what I said to you when you reached out to me about the podcast. Like, fuck, I'm gonna sit and have a chat for an hour. I want it to be a good fucking chat, because it's an hour that I can invest in other things. And I think you start realizing that the more and more you grow up, is that when you think of our existence and our timeline on this fucking planet, it is so fucking small, and you've got a very minute time to make an impact. And that's why time is so valuable to me and should be so valuable to everyone, because I truly believe that I go through life thinking tomorrow isn't promised to me and that anything could happen. So I make the most of every single time and day and experience that I have now. And I'm not looking too far ahead, further than next week or the week after, as to what I want to be doing or where I want to be going. As long as I'm sticking to, I guess, my core morals and values, the rest sorts itself out.
I feel like because you've gone through some hardships, that helps you in your being such an open-minded and forward-thinking person in that respect now. Because again, if people don't go through some tough times like that, or they're stuck in that day-to-day 9 to 5 monotonous life they live, they don't see the bigger picture. And
but so this is it, bro. If you haven't been through those hard times, then I question that you haven't fucking necessarily pushed yourself or tested yourself hard enough. People won't like to fucking hear that, but it's true. If you haven't been in that uncomfortable fucking state yet, then I suggest you go and find out to see what it feels like, because that's where you'll find out what you're made of and what you're here to do, and 100% that will really help shape where you want to be.
You stupid cunt.
He's back.
Fuck me, mate. This does right. do my tits in. You said it's true, and then it just fucking, you went on a rant, and I didn't fucking, it just froze again. Like internet, I think it doesn't normally happen, mate. I don't normally get this issue. I think it's obviously because you're on the other side of the world.
Yeah, it's a long way, bro. No, what I said was, it's true. If people haven't been in that uncomfortable state, they're not going to have been in the position what it feels like to be uncomfortable. And as I said, that uncomfortable period in your life is where you'll find out what you're really fucking made of, and where your purpose and your determination is. And yeah, I just said that for me, that's why it's so important that every person, if you haven't experienced being uncomfortable, that you need to go out there and fucking do that. You know,
people are scared to, but I completely agree. Like,
harsh fucking reality, bro.
It is, and it took for me. I went through some tough times to come out the other side and go, what do I want to do? And I started this, and I'm doing a few other bits on the side now. And like you said, time is the biggest thing now. 12-hour days, you know, at the moment, Monday to Friday. But I want to provide for my family, and I want to buy a house next year and stuff. So actually now, but I love the process at the moment. So
if you love what you fucking do, then it makes it 10 times easier to sit and work for 12 hours, you know?
Yeah, I wish there was just 1 or 2 more hours just to get some extra sleep, because I'm awful at sleeping. But I'm loving the process. And when I stop loving the process, I'll probably stop doing a couple of things, because I don't like doing it just for the money. Because like you said, I bought a set of golf clubs the other day. Well, where's the irons? Like, there's always something else when it's material.
There's always something else, and you'll always enjoy the journey far more than the destination. So just focus on that.
Completely. Like, and what's next for you then? So talk to me a little bit about the your like Lifting Dreams charity and what you want to do. Like, what's the future for Sonny Webster? Because you've got everything at your fingertips at the moment to go and do what you want to do and be happy.
Yeah, well, I think for me, fueling my creative desires at the moment is really important, which is why I'm loving Big Friday Supplies. But it's taken me a long time to really take ownership over that, because it's something that, you know, for me has been very different, and, you know, a very like scary sort of new line of work. But actually, it was only the other day when Lyndall's friend was round, and I was showing her the clothes and showing her the designs, because I draw most of them out first and then they go on the shirts. And Lyndall said, she turned around to me and she goes, yeah, you're a fashion designer now. And I was like, fuck, yeah, I am a fashion designer. And actually take ownership over, yeah, I am that. And I think that's one of the biggest things. So many it takes people a long time to do, and it happens to me as well. You have that imposter syndrome, but you have to fucking own it. And until you get to that point when you own what you do and you're confident and, I guess, proud of who you are and what you do, you'll always be fucking mediocre. And do you know what? It's not a bad thing sometimes to have that little bit of arrogance in what you do, because it does show that element of, you know, you're proud of who you are and what you're creating. And it's taken me a while with Big Friday Supplies to do that, but I finally starting to feel like I'm hitting my stride and getting my confidence with that. And I guess everything that I did the Big Friday Supplies for was about allowing people to, especially in the weightlifting space, express their personality through what they wear. Because for 16 years of weightlifting, it was everyone had the same pair of weightlifting shoes, the same shitty fucking weightlifting suit. There was not one streak of piss of fashion like between, you know? And you get 6 seconds on a platform to do your lifts, and then you fuck off again. And again, you get no sense of who that person is, what they're about, what they've been through, how hard they train. Whereas I feel like that for that 6 seconds, if you can wear something that says, look, this is me, you know what I mean? You get a feel for that person straight away, which is what Big Friday is all about. And it's built on a feeling and a vibe that I get on Friday when I train and walk in the gym, and it's fucking NRG.
Yes, so, I love it.
I'm going to keep pushing on with that. With the charity, I'm just doing my bit to give back, you know, like I've got pretty much everything I want, bro. Like, really, I've got more than what I want. And if there's something that I really want, I could have it. And that's nice, but there becomes a point where that doesn't fuel you any further to have any more than what you've got. And I've kind of found that point now, whereas for me, actually helping other people that need help far more than me, because that's a lot more fulfilling. Because there was a point in my life where I really needed help and support, and I met Jeff, who was my first sponsor and now the CEO of my businesses, that he gave me the helping hand that I needed. And I'm now fortunate enough to be in a position where I can do the same to other people, which is why Lifting Dreams is so important, because I'm essentially just paying it forward. And, you know, I think good deeds breed other good deeds. And it's me doing my bit now to give back and, you know, to help the kids there who have far little, who worry about far smaller things than me and you wake up and worry about each day. We can do what may seem like a small thing to us can have a huge impact on their lives. So we've just built the roof of the first gym that we made, and by the end of the year we're doing a fundraiser to build a full community center and school in Soweto, so that we can help them way past giving them purpose, but with them give them education as well. Because we don't realize growing up in the countries. I lost you then.
Mate, right.
Where was that?
Well, this does my tits in. You said Jeff was giving you a helping hand.
Yes, Jeff gave me that helping hand, and, you know, allowed me to achieve the dreams and stuff that I wanted to do. And, you know, I now with Lifting Dreams, I'm in a position to do the same and help others. And I guess, you know, like I said, it's paying it forward for me. And I think more than anything, good deeds breed other good deeds. And I'm doing my bit to help these kids out, you know. The things that me and you worry about each day, compared to the worries that these kids have, are fucking so small and so meaningless that it really brings back to reality what smallest things that you can do to help and change someone else's life. So we've just found that obviously my goal was to help give these guys purpose through having a weightlifting gym and a place to train and a club that they can feel like they belong to. But it's kind of become bigger than that now. And, you know, we're just finished putting the roof on the first gym in the next month. And then by the end of the year, we're doing a fundraiser to build a whole community center and classrooms so that we can help the kids with schooling, education, and a lot more. Because that's the thing, we don't realize growing up the opportunity that we have and that others just don't have, and we don't maximize it. And, you know, I think for me, I want to give these guys more of an opportunity or a better chance to achieve their fucking dreams, because there's so many talented people out there that will never get the chance to fulfill their potential because they don't have the opportunity. And that's such a scary thought. You think the percentage of the population that actually have the opportunity to maximize their talent is so fucking small. So for me to be able to give opportunity to someone else to achieve their potential, whether their potential is to be, you know, just have a fucking job or to finish school, great. If it's to become an Olympian or an astronaut, great. But just to someone to have the chance to push themselves to find as good as they can be, great, you know. And that's why that is important to me.
I love it. We'll tag it in so people can have a look and see how you're getting on with that, pal. Like, where can people find you and your various businesses and stuff on social media then, just so that we can tag you in?
Yeah, head over to my Instagram, Sonny Webster GB, and if you hit my link tree, you'll find the mobility manual, my academy, the charity, but also make sure you sign up to my email list as well, which is in the link tree, because that's what I write every 2 or 3 days, an email that kind of gives you an insight into what's going inside this head, aside from the crazy technique lifting videos and stuff that you'll see. And there's lots of free good content if you scroll down through my Instagram that will help you out with your training, or at least give you a laugh at the very least.
I'm gonna, mate, send me I'm gonna get some of your clothes, pal. I'll talk to you after, right? I'll send me an invoice so I can just put it through the business as like whatever. But I'll do that mobility manual as well, mate, because I need it. Because I'm awful like it. Because I'm going back to. I've been doing a cycling challenge for the last 4 to 5 weeks, which is like cycling 1,000 miles in a month. And so I'm going back to the gym in early. This will go out in early June, but I'll be going back to the gym in early June, and I know that I'm going to be horrific. So I'll sign up to it. We'll share some of your stuff around the charity and what you're doing. We'll tag you in. Anything else you want to talk about, pal, before the signal goes again? Fucking shambles.
I think we've had a good chat, brother. I've got a development fucking meeting now for the app.
Class.
But,
Hey, mate.
Thank you so much, man. And thank you to everyone that's taken the time to listen. Make sure you fucking send it. And we'll speak soon.
I love it, mate. Thank you so much. Hey, mate, just keep defying the naysayers, pal. Fuck them.
Cheers, brother.
Do what makes you happy, all right? And we'll speak soon.
Thanks, bro. Bye-bye.
You take care, mate. Cheers, Sonny. Ciao, bye.